Hi, welcome to the fourth episode of Legal Capsule by the Vidhi Center for Legal Policy, where we are going to talk to Devaditya Sinha today, who is the lead of Climate and Ecosystems Vertical at Vidhi and a senior resident fellow. We are going to talk about the current air pollution in Delhi. Last year around Diwali, post the lockdown, there was very little air pollution. There were hardly any crackers burst and the skies were clear. But today, at this point of the year, the air is hazardous. The AQI has crossed 470, and the Supreme Court has even suggested a potential lockdown as a measure to control air pollution. There is a lot of discussion around it. Is this lockdown just a Twitter trend, or will it actually curb air pollution? Let's first dive deeper into the causes of this air pollution with Devaditya, because a lot has been talked about stubble burning, industrial pollution, firecrackers being burst after Diwali in the wedding season, vehicular pollution, and more. So, Dev, can you throw some light on the facts?
Thank you, Richa. So actually, like when we talk about the sources of pollution, it is not the single source. There are many sources and they all act together. So we cannot say that this is the only one source. But of course, there are studies which have been done by government as well as various non-government organizations. And they have some variation in the percentage of sources. But I will just share with you the recent this submission of the Government of India to the Supreme Court recently, I think a couple of days ago, where they mentioned the contribution of each of the sources of pollution. In that submission, they have mentioned the affidavit in the court that the pollution from this PM 2.5 from industry is 30%, from transport it is 28%, from dust or from road or anywhere else it is 17%, from residents 10%, and stubble burning is 4%. It is for winter PM 2.5, and this is almost similar in case of PM 10. Okay. So this is for the case of winter. So you can see the major polluters are the industries and transport. It's more than 60%, around 60%. The stubble burning is very small percentage, less than 5% of it.
Right. What about the crackers then that have been burnt post Diwali? Have they contributed in their country? They're continuing to be burnt in the wedding season.
Yeah, obviously, like when these figures they submit in the court, they take an average out of it. But if you see, these firecrackers are they create such a surge in pollution. If someone has health issue or someone has any breathing issue, so it's such a huge quantity of pollution in just a couple of days. So it has potential to cause a lot more damage. So, but in the overall discussion, we somehow lose this kind of discussion, what's the impact of such kind of pollution, which are like for small duration of time, but in a very huge quantity. And they remain in the atmosphere because in this year, this Diwali also this onset of winter and there is no wind. So this everything is less, you have seen next day it was completely smoggy outside, and the air quality just deteriorated from the second day of the Diwali. So I don't think there is any explanation needed to say that of course firecrackers are major polluters, although for a short duration time, but they have a huge impact.
Right. So they cause the tipping point. Basically, they create that spike surge, even if in the overall contributors, their percentage may not be that high. Talking about the wind, today in the Supreme Court, it was discussed that let's wait till 21st November, for the winds. And then we can discuss whether more extreme measures are required before diving into more systemic measures for the two key causes, it appears, which is industrial pollution and vehicular pollution, which is 58 to 60% of the total contributor of air pollution in Delhi. Is lockdown even a solution? And if it is, what should be the nature of such a lockdown?
So, Richa, first, I will just like to answer this point about waiting 21st November. See, this pollution has been, I think, last 10, 12 years, this issue has been there every year. During Diwali, they have discussing this thing, in media for 2 weeks, it will continuously discussed. They will continuously cases the Supreme Court giving directions on this thing, then it just evaporates. But the issue has been there since at least a decade now. And everyone knows what is going to happen. So why you have to wait for that, 21st ke baad kya hoga? So you should be prepared for that. So my question is that why you were treating the symptoms rather than the cause? So you should talk about the cause. Now the entire discussion, entire efforts are all about treating the symptoms. So this is, I think, the real change where we want to see in the government. And about the lockdown, yeah, I think this lockdown was a one-time opportunity where we have seen, like, where if everything comes standstill, then what are the impact on the environment? And the blue skies and clean rivers were first time I think in my life I have seen this since 1990s in Delhi. That this so so there is actually no evidence required. We have all have seen, like if you can curb those sources of pollution, then things can automatically revive. So of course, lockdown can be a solution, but lockdown cannot be a long-term solution. It is only a temporary measure. Like suppose you are in a very bad condition of health, then you went to ICU. So you give an oxygen, all this thing. But this cannot be a lifelong thing. We have to find a way, systematic and preventive measures to avoid this kind of things. Now this is happening not for first time. COVID was a first time we have been into situation. We have dealt with it. But pollution is there since I think last couple of decades, and we have seen in last 5 6 years every year it is worsening. So what else you need to prevent those things? You have the experience, you have the knowledge, you know what to do. It's only political will, and I think this is all required.
Yes. So coming to that, lockdown is an extreme short-term measure for a symptomatic situation, which I agree, and it has a lot of other effects. What really is the preventive way of treating the causes? And you have, you're a researcher. I know that it has been talked about both in terms of looking at polluting industries, managing vehicular pollution. So what, according to you, should the government follow? Because it's a decade-long issue and nothing seems to happen till this time of the year.
So Risha, like in this case, like what I see is that we have been punching each other. Okay, so when the department say no, it's not because travel bank. We say not because vehicles. First go to the power plants. They will say no, go to the construction. This thing has to be first stopped. We have to target each and every source of pollution depending on the priorities. You have to also make priorities, like which things are necessary and which things are you can somehow deal with. And given that, also air pollution doesn't work in a political manner, political boundaries. It is an airshed kind of approach you have to take. So you cannot just regulate activities within Delhi or Noida and Gurgaon and say you have solved the problem. So you have to see, if you talk to any scientist, every effort has to be science-based. It cannot be a public will or political will-based solution. It has to be a scientifically sound technology which you need to do. And of course, as I said that you have to control the sources. And now control says there are two kinds of sources. One is the major polluters and the small polluters. Now what happens is the big polluters. Now we don't go after them. We always we always penalize the people who are easy to get away with. So for example, I give you two examples. We have the example of Sterl Bundy. Now, recent affidavit to Supreme Court, they have said 4% is the contribution of Sterl Bundy. Okay. Now, this coal-based power plant industry, of course, industry includes many things. Grid cleaning also there, but coal-based power plants are the major source of pollution, like Delhi and elsewhere in the country, not only in Delhi. Now, there was emission standards for coal-based power plants. In 2015, they had notified it. It's not a very great standard, given that it's a very weak compared to other countries. But still, they have tried to do something, and they have given this timeline for 2 years to meet the power plants to install this equipment, water equipment. They didn't prescribe any equipment. They said this is the emission we have to meet. Now, this emission standards has been the deadline has been extended a couple of times. And there was this 2016 study by IIT Kanpur which says that emissions from power plants can travel beyond 300 kilometers of the source. So that means there are 13 or 14 power plants outside Delhi, and because of the location of Delhi, of the wind and all the climate thing, so Delhi receives all those pollutions from this. So deadline for them was again 19 December, extended deadline. They couldn't meet it. Then CPCB issued notice and they imposed a compensation for 18 lakhs rupees per month per unit for each power plants, for 10 power plants, I think, that who couldn't comply with it. Now, what happened after that? They went to the Supreme Court, they got a stay, and then MOF, Minister of Environment and Forest, they also amend that notification. They said, okay, they are given further time to comply with this. Now it's 2021, 15 to 21, we have already spent 6 years. We have not installed FGD and SCR in those power plants, but we will penalize the farmers who are burning crops. We will penalize the people who are breaking the odd even rules. So I think this is you have to target each and every source equally. You cannot just penalize one source and you can just give exemptions to other sources, especially when they're bigger polluters. So that's what I'm trying to tell you, that we have to take a multilateral approach and we have to impose penalties or any incentives very equitable way. You cannot just selectively work on these things. Otherwise, what happens is you create more conflicts within people and the states and all this thing. And And the real issue of pollution just gets lost in those fighting, which we've seen in Supreme Court cases going on. It's all like different story, but we all know the solution. It's just about
Yes.
the will to
No,
do that.
thanks. This is really important. Let me reiterate that pollution is agnostic of boundaries. It has been politicized. The real big polluters are being, not held to task despite 6 years of standards being set for power plants, especially coal industries. Nothing has been done, and a punitive approach is being used for the smaller polluters, and that it can travel 300 for 300 kilometers. So then, maybe you can also talk a little bit about vehicular pollution, and also, if this is the issue, is there a way of incentivizing practices instead of using a punitive approach, so that people actually follow what is required, as opposed to fighting it, going to court, getting stay orders?
So on vehicular pollution, so we have we have published one report called implementation of Clean Delhi's Air Implementation Action Plan. So in that, we tried to, there were many solutions given by many organizations, including government, non-government organizations. Very good report. They gave a solution, but how to implement those things. And we have given the solution to the description of how to, implement those solutions. So I will request everyone to just search about this Cleaning Delhi's Air Implementation Plan.
What's the name of the report? What's the name of the report?
Cleaning Delhi's Air Implementation Action Plan.
Please go on Vidhi's website and look it up.
Yeah, you can get it. You can see, we have given solutions, the source-wise solution, for what we should do for coal-based power plant, should do vehicle pollution. We have addressed every source of pollution. For vehicles, we have strictly prescribed various measures. One is, of course, you have to control the number of vehicles you can register in Delhi. I think unless you limit those number of vehicles in Delhi, you cannot just implement all these things. So many countries have done it. I think in Beijing or some other countries, also in Singapore, they have this strict system that per family this number of cars can be allotted. They have some lottery system. So it's based on the need of the person. So because Delhi, we cannot afford to have so many cars. Okay, and especially we have 2 members family, each have one car, and they also take up parking space. And parking was also related to air pollution. They suggested that we should increase the parking fees. We should increase the tax on diesel vehicle, because diesel vehicle is more polluting than petrol.
Yes.
Okay, there are many measures we have suggested in that thing. So this kind of measures we should definitely take. But yeah, of course, vehicular pollution, we all know, if you say public transport, compared to public transport, the number of vehicles helps. If you see Delhi government, there's a yearly report they publish on different aspects. So number of private vehicles have increased 2-3 folds in the last 4-6 years, but public transport has remained same. And in fact, they have reduced. And the fare of Delhi Metro has been hiked a couple of years ago, a couple of times, and there's no last mile connectivity. So so basically, you should first, before penalizing people, you should have the systems in place. So I'm talking about penalization. You cannot penalize people when you don't have the proper system to give a better alternative, not better, but at least some comparable alternative. Now, how can we expect a person who don't have access to he's living far from metro station, he has to go to the metro station to get a metro, or go to the bus stop if he's living far from metro station to the bus stop. So this kind of last mile connectivity is a very major issue in implementing this, or even limiting the private vehicles. So until that, similarly for this stubble burning, until or unless you give them proper alternatives, are also at a very affordable cost. I will suggest that they should be free of cost to the farmers who cannot afford it, marginal farmers, medium farmers, and then you penalize them. You don't give them proper subsidies, you don't give them proper support. Then you penalize them. This is clearly not the right way to do things. And incentivize any incentives. They have a limitation because it works in certain circumstances, but it always has limit. And the incentive has to be that kind of incentive which will bring some behavioral change. Yeah. So I don't know how it works, but there are two, 3 examples, case of solar power plants, solar panels we have seen. When they incentivize solar panels now, feasible approach, people have shifted to solar panels in remote areas. If you see in cities also. So solar panels is a good example, but again, it is a very limited kind of source. But for other things, you have to develop source. Now there is a subsidy for EV, electric vehicles. Now, there is a whole glorifying, glamorizing EV vehicles, but EV vehicles is not a solution, because you are at the end, your power is coming from coal-based energy at some part of the country. So this kind of decisions can only help. Alone incentivize with a very short-term goal, short-term vision will not solve the problem. It will only transfer the issue to some other, thing. It's a short-term measure. So incentives has to be complemented with some kind of, larger policy measures. Like incentives are of behavioral change. Not, you cannot expect big reforms from incentives.
Fair enough. Thanks. That's really useful. So really it boils down to issues of basic access, and not like short-term optical measures. So are there any examples globally where, cities or countries have employed techniques to handle pollution, air pollution? Like I know London just expanded its vehicle levy in October, but that's just one example. So any examples to mull over as we close this conversation?
Yeah, there's a very good example of Beijing. Beijing was one point the most polluted city in the world. Not probably in top 5, but Beijing has done a remarkable job because their people pressure was there, and they have enforced this. I think for the first time, I think Beijing is China is the only country where they implemented the FGTs, flue gas transition technique, to control the SOx emissions from power plants. They also impose this limitation on the vehicles which can be registered. So this kind of things, harsh steps has to be taken. If you have to decide which is the priority. So I think Beijing is a very good example where you can see how government has actually enforced those kind of you can say technology-driven solutions to this thing. But they're all source-driven. They have curtailed the pollution from the source. Their concern was source. But in India, we have seen that we are going after the impact of it. So that is a good example.
Thanks, Dave. Let's hope there is political will to tackle this issue so that we actually leave a better world for the next generation, at least. Thank you for this discussion for this episode of the Legal Capsule.
Thank you, Richa.